began on a quiet Saturday night, April 26, 1986. Inside the control room of Reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant, the atmosphere was tense but routine. Panels flickered with data, warning lights blinked lazily across the console. Operators moved through procedures they had rehearsed many times before. Standing over the control desk was Deputy Chief Engineer Anatoly Dyatlov. His eyes remained fixed on the reactor indicators as they slowly climbed toward a level they had been told must never be reached. But the test had already begun, and there was no turning back. The experiment that night seemed simple enough. Engineers wanted to know whether the plant's turbine could continue producing residual electrical power during the brief gap between a station blackout and the activation of emergency generators. If successful, it could improve reactor safety. If it failed, well, no one expected what was about to happen. The reactor beneath them was an RBMK design, powerful, efficient, and notoriously unstable under certain conditions. Its quirks were known by some engineers, whispered about in corridors, but rarely written clearly in official manuals. To run the test, operators began disabling several automatic safety systems. Interlocks were overwritten. Protective shutdown mechanisms were bypassed. One by one, the safeguards that normally kept the reactor stable were quietly switched off. At the control panel sat two young operators, Leonid Toptunov and Alexander Akimov. They were following orders. But the reactor was becoming increasingly unstable. Power levels fluctuated wildly. Control rods were pulled far beyond recommended limits. The nuclear core entered a dangerous state that only a few specialists truly understood. Then something strange happened. Witnesses later described seeing a light. Not the harsh white flash of a typical explosion. Not the dull orange glow of burning metal. But something else. A deep, eerie blue glow. The light seemed to ripple through the air like liquid electricity, illuminating the concrete walls and reflecting across the stunned faces in the control room. Seconds later, the reactor surged violently. The graphite-tipped control rods slammed down in an emergency shutdown attempt. But instead of stabilizing the reactor, the action triggered a catastrophic feedback spike. Power increased dramatically, far beyond the reactor's limits. Then the core exploded. A massive blast ripped through the reactor vessel, lodging radioactive debris into the night sky. A second explosion followed moments later, tearing the roof apart and exposing the nuclear core to the open air. The worst nuclear disaster in history had begun. Within hours, firefighters rushed to the scene. Many believed they were responding to an ordinary industrial fire. They climbed onto the shattered reactor building without protective gear, unaware that lethal radiation surrounded them. Many of them would not survive the weeks that followed. Meanwhile, the nearby city of Pripyat continued life as usual. Families slept peacefully. Children prepared for school. No one yet understood that an invisible cloud of radioactive fallout was drifting silently over the city. Within days, Pripyat would be evacuated, its streets abandoned, its apartments left frozen in time. But amid the chaos and investigation that followed, another mystery quietly emerged. During the official inquiry led by Soviet nuclear physicist Valery Legasov, scientists began reviewing thousands of instrument readings from the night of the explosion. Most of the data made sense. Radiation spikes, temperature surges, mechanical failures. But some signals did not match anything the experts expected. Neutron detectors located hundreds of kilometers away recorded strange bursts of activity. Seismographs in distant monitoring stations registered subtle timing irregularities. Some precision clocks appeared to drift for a few brief seconds before correcting themselves. No one could fully explain why. These anomalies were quietly archived and largely ignored in the official reports. But the strangest discovery came months later. During cleanup operations inside the destroyed reactor building, recovery workers uncovered a small metallic fragment buried beneath collapsed concrete near a stairwell. The object was roughly the size of a human palm. At first glance, it looked like ordinary stainless steel. But under microscopic analysis in laboratories in Kyiv and later at the Khrushchev Institute, the material revealed something unexpected. Its internal structure contained an intricate lattice of microscopic channels arranged in a crystalline pattern unlike any known industrial alloy produced in the Soviet Union at the time. Even stranger were the isotopic signatures. They did not perfectly match materials typically produced inside a nuclear reactor. Some scientists suggested it might have been part of an experimental neutron control device, an advanced material designed to regulate reactor behavior. Others suspected it might have come from a classified research project. But a few researchers proposed something far more unsettling. They wondered whether the extreme conditions inside the runaway reactor, temperatures, radiation, and energy densities rarely seen on Earth, might have briefly produced a phenomenon no one had predicted.
A moment where matter, energy, and information interacted in a way that left behind a physical trace. A kind of echo. In the private notebooks of Valery Legasov, discovered years after his death, one entry referenced the mysterious fragment using a single word. Resonance. To this day, no definitive explanation has ever been confirmed. The official history of Chernobyl remains clear. Design flaws, human error, and systemic failure led to catastrophe. Yet hidden within sealed archives and aging instrument logs are details that still puzzle researchers. Strange signals, unexplained measurements, and a small shard of metal that does not fully belong to the known story. Today, the ruins of Reactor 4 remain encased beneath a massive steel structure, standing silent in the abandoned exclusion zone. The city of Pripyat still waits nearby, empty streets slowly reclaimed by nature. Chernobyl is remembered as a disaster, a tragedy, a warning about the dangers of technology and human mistakes. But for those who continue studying the fragments of data left behind, another question lingers quietly in the background. What exactly happened inside that reactor in the final seconds before it exploded? And did something occur that science has not yet learned how to explain? Some mysteries do not disappear. They simply wait.